Good afternoon. Today I'm going to be discussing gender differences in toy preferences. I'd like to start just to frame this with what we see as the general pattern across most studies in humans. On this graph, males and females are on the x-axis, and playtime with a given toy is on the y-axis. Black bars correspond to male toys, masculine toys, and gray to feminine toys. And the takeaway here is that males like masculine toys more than females do, and females like feminine toys more than males do. Okay? So this is true basically across every study. I want to look at why does this difference exist. The traditional explanation for this is based on approximate argument, that socialization leads to this difference. So children are given labels by society as being boys or girls, and then they learn the expectations related to those labels. For example, boys learn that they should like sports, so therefore they learn to like sports and play football. This explains the gender difference we just saw. A second way of looking at it is a more ultimate level explanation, so different level of analysis. And this is a biological argument, saying that the difference stems from activity preferences. So in this argument, perhaps girls are preparing for motherhood, and therefore like dolls more than boys. Boys are preparing for male-male competition, something like that, so they like moving around more. In humans, one way to look at this is looking at children who have variation in normal hormone levels, so especially girls with CAH, congenital androgen hyperplasia. And what you find is that they tend to like masculine toys more than normal girls do. So this also explains the gender difference. However, if we want to look at just how much biology, of a role biology has to play, we have to control for socialization. So what do? As your textbook says, you go to monkeys. So the paper I'm presenting is Sex Differences in Rhesus Monkey Toy Preferences Parallel Those of Children. It was published in Hormones and Behavior 4 years ago. The hypothesis is very simple. If gender differences have a biological basis, then those differences will be found in other primate species. So here are subjects, rhesus monkeys. Subjects came from a population of 135 monkeys that had existed for over 25 years in captivity. From that population, they excluded infants, monkeys that had been treated with prenatal hormones, and were left with about half the population, a little bit more, and then of that they used roughly half the available females and half the available males. And this was basically just due to time constraints. Because of the activity preferences, they didn't want to say they had masculine and feminine toys. So instead they used categorized toys. Plush toys, dolls and stuffed animals, and wheeled toys, trucks, cars, that type of thing. So, again, kind of the stereotype of preparing for motherhood and moving around a lot, preparing for male-male competition. Data collection. Researchers would place one toy of each category into an outdoor enclosure 10 meters apart, with video cameras facing each toy. They'd then release several monkeys into the enclosure and leave them there for 25 minutes. They did this 7 times. After all these times, they went through the videotapes and recorded every instance, the entire frequency and duration of interactions for each individual monkey. This is the graph we saw at the beginning for comparison, and here's the data from this study. So again, on the x-axis you have males and females. The wheeled toys are in black, and the plush toys are in gray. The y-axis shows total interactions, but if it was also duration of interaction on the y-axis, it would look identical to this. And what you see is the exact same pattern. Males like masculine or like wheeled toys more than females do, and females like plush toys more than males do. And this was found to be a statistically significant difference. But we can ask, within genders, is there actually a preference? Okay? So do males like wheeled toys more than plush toys? I think it's pretty obvious from this graph that yes, they do, and there's a massive statistically significant difference between the two. However, within females, it's a little different. As you can see, the two bars are about the same. And what they actually found was there was no statistically significant difference between the two. So females were indifferent between wheeled toys and plush toys. Let's add another layer to this. 6 years prior, there was a study done in vervet monkeys that was similar, but it found a different result. These are masculine toys, and these are feminine toys. Males are in white, females are in gray, and the y-axis is basically the amount of time spent with each toy. What you find is males like masculine toys more than females do, and females like feminine toys more than males do. But it's actually males who are indifferent. As you can see, this is basically the same as the white bars above. So females show preferences across gendered toys, but males do not. So you get the same general pattern, but the difference for which gender is indifferent. There's a difference for which gender is indifferent. The perhaps best part of all this is both of these results have been replicated in humans. We want to think about why this difference might exist. You have to think about selective pressures. So I've already mentioned them. It seems plausible that preparing for motherhood would be a strong selective pressure across almost all primate species. For males, it is perhaps less convincing. It's possible that male-male competition, or perhaps even male sexual coercion of females, is what leads to a preference for lots of activity as a young monkey or young ape. Is it convincing? At this point, probably not. More studies need to be done, especially like the rhesus monkey study, which had a much more rigorous protocol than the vervet monkeys study. To sum up, same pattern across all species. Males like masculine toys more than females, females like feminine toys more than males. But between species and within humans, you do have that variation. Now, I want to end by stressing this. A lot of the literature plays off the proximate and ultimate explanations for this as opposing forces, and they're really two sides of the same coin. They both allow us to explain why this behavior exists. Thank you very much.